Hey everybody, this is Brett from Moonstream. Just wanted to follow up with you guys in the markets and give you guys an update on what's going on and what I'm seeing so I can give you guys some direction on what to expect next. It's just some news to start out with here. We have an article here mentioning Arthur Hayes, who came out with an article recently talking about a few things, one of which being he expects the markets to sell off into March. I agree with that, and I'll show you in the charts why I think that's coming as well based on a number of factors. And but this is also suggesting that the Fed money printer could kick off here in Q1 of 2025, which would certainly help get us to some of the targets that we've identified here in the charts, which we're going to get to in a moment. Going to move pretty quick here. Just want to give you guys an update here, but also suggesting that we could see a March 2025 pullback. And I also have been thinking that and suggesting the reason why Hayes says a letdown by the Trump team on the proposed pro-crypto, pro-business legislation. Essentially, it's going to take longer than people think, and it may cause some disappointment in the markets. Also, economic data not looking terribly great into the first quarter, although this pullback in the markets here the last few days was triggered by a number of things. The economic data came out slightly positive, which is suggesting that they won't drop interest rates again, and that would be bad for risk on assets. However, some suggestions in one of these articles here that there's another path to getting us there, and just talking about this, I think I'll jump over to this one here. Let's see, where did that go? I covered this in another video just recently, but this article saying Bitcoin hourly RSI falls to the most oversold since 60K. You know, we don't really use the RSI. We have our own signals, but and I'm showing that we're overbought there versus oversold. So always worth knowing what other people are thinking as well. And so I'll skip past this a bit. We'll look at it in our own charts. This suggesting that Bitcoin could lose this current support levels and go down to 88K. I'm seeing 84K, so we'll look at that. I'm not sure where they got this, just circling the news a bit, and suggesting that that's highly probable based on buy and sell limit orders. These are some of these real-time solutions like High Block. I think we have our own that we've coded that's a lot easier to look at. So why don't we jump over to the charts and just catch up a bit on things. So, you know, this is a chart of Bitcoin with some market cycle lows on a timing basis, where we've also been working with Juan Villaverde, who you guys know from the channel. He's doing great work with a program that he has called Market Cycles. And so he proposed November 5th would be a market cycle low that coincided with the election. So certainly we saw a nice push up there. Got a bit overextended, got up over 100K, helping. Well, also December 5th was a cycle low, which helped push up all the way up to 108K. So where are we now? I had on here January 5th as a cycle low, and also January 19th, which is supposed to be a stronger one, and was wondering how we'd rectify that. Well, we did drift down into this range and bounce a day early, or actually right into, so this was January 1st. January 5th was a couple days later, but this kicked off a bit ahead of it. These things are a day or two off. And then what we had the other day here, what is important about this red candle is now we have two data points for a downward sloping trend channel. Before we didn't have that. We thought we were going to go higher. And now it looks like this is a likely path down to this Jan 19th kind of low right before the inauguration, where the new administration comes in. There'll be more certainty, and that's good for markets. So our bearish signals are this bearish arrow here, the bearish early reversal indicator, which is one of our own bearish engulfing candle. And if we open this up, the trend strength indicator turning from green to red on this daily time frame. So my best bet is that this will drift down here over the coming week to 10 days, down into this buy block here, which is our signals that is visualizing where the buy limit orders are on the books, in this case on Bitstamp. So once we get back into price discovery zone, though, above 110K, things are off to the races, and we should see a fairly fast appreciation up to 130K, maybe 150K. We'll look at some of those targets here on this next chart. So essentially, the USDT dominance chart that I had been covering here over the last month, it does seem to be playing out. Let me just hide the total market cap so we can see this a bit better, and we'll look at this from a number of views. So essentially, if you are just seeing this, this is a study I saw somewhere, but I've added my own analysis onto it and showing that on this lower trend line, every time we've dipped down to touch that as support has been a market cycle high. So it's inversely related as USDT, which is Tether stablecoin. As money flows into Tether stablecoin, it flows out of Bitcoin and crypto. And when it's flowing out of Tether, right, well, it's going out of Tether and it's coming down, that's going into the markets. When it's coming out of the markets, we see Tether go up. So these data points correspond to back here in that March, June, July mid-cycle sort of correction, that midsummer correction that we saw. And then we saw that resolve after the summer, coming back down toward that November 2021 market top. And that's, again, right down on this trend line. So we've been seeing this coming down and bouncing along this lower trend line. These blue lines are just from this other cycle. So these do tend to move in similar patterns. So I have that on here, giving us a couple more months right into that March timeframe where we could be hitting new highs just like we did over here, and then pushing up, having money flow back into Tether as things go out of the markets, and then coming back down here around October of 2025 for a second peak, a second market cycle high, I think around the 200K level. So I'm looking at 150K here, potentially by March. I know that's a lot, but if it really starts to run, we could have that happen, a pullback and meaningful correction, and then another run to 200K, and then the bear market. If we go back and overlay that total market cap here on the same screen, it's going to take a little massaging here, but here we can see it's inversely related. So this red line being the total market cap back in here when it was at its peak here, again, that April 2021 going into summer for that correction, pulled back, and then up again for that November 2021 cycle high when I was telling people to get out of the markets. So so we've seen this new all-time high in Bitcoin starting to pull back as the Tether gets down along that trend line. So we'll keep an eye on that study. You can follow that along on TradingView. You can just Google my name, Brett Vogel, for that. So jumping over into the Pi Cycle Top study here, this has been an excellent sort of indicator that's always been right in terms of calling market cycle tops all the way back to 2013 when we had a dual cycle top. And I have been suggesting since a year ago we could see that same kind of dual market cycle top in 2025. It's feeling very similar where we came up, we had the Pi cycle top, had a full 76% correction on Bitcoin, and then it ran again to a new top, and we had this Pi cycle top kick in as well in the same year. So fast forwarding to 2017, we saw the next Pi cycle top, of course, was correct at the top. And on the way to the top in 2021, we do notice here that on the way, it usually rejects under the green line at least once. Why is that relevant? Because we've seen that happen here, and we could see that happen here again as we push up higher. If we, again, these blue lines are from the prior cycle. I forget where I grabbed these, somewhere along in the previous one. They tend to be similar. So if once we kick back up into this, if I overlay, this would put us right in that Jan 20 range. We could see a fast push up to around 150K, and then a pullback into that summer range, as I've suggested. And so that would give us, a couple months, 6 months or so of consolidation, and then another run up to 200K later in that year, again around the December 2025. So there's confluence there as well. And then thirdly, you guys might remember this study here where on the path to 150K Bitcoin, 200K Bitcoin, the Fibonacci, which got us to the last cycle high from the top in 2017 to the low, just stretched out, takes us right to that top in the April 2021 range. Many people think that was the actual top, even though we pulled back and ran again. This is sort of that Wyckoff upthrust after distribution. So if we use that as the top and using the same study, in the last one we got up to the 3.618 as the high. And so I'm proposing that if we see that play out again from the high of last cycle around 68K to the bottom around 16.5, and drawing that same Fibonacci study, right? It gave us 100K at the 1.618. It's amazing how the math works out. We did a quick throw over on that. We've dipped down below and retested 100K. It's only a matter of time before we sort of get back into the swing of things, push on up to 150K. I think it'll be a quick move up into that range. at that 2.618 range right there, or target. Then we get that sort of pullback again in March, coincides in that same time frame. Maybe back down to 115K, whatever that looks like, a second buying opportunity, and then that push up to the 200K range into the end of the year, October, November, December. So all of this is in confluence. Looks pretty good to me. We'll use that as our base case as we go along. Jumping back to the daily charts here, if I did look at the weekly really quick, just another look at what I already showed you, but this could be setting up as another bull flag. So on the weekly charts, this is where we see a lot of that buy limit order action around 84K. Also the midpoint of this vector candle. Incidentally, I just shared a study with some of our members today on what these vector candles mean, why prices usually come back down into them, and what they are. This is where there's a buy sell imbalance, and there's not enough buy orders to match the sell orders and vice versa. The market maker can move price into a new range, essentially buying and selling to itself to fill and grab liquidity, and then at some point in the future they'll retrace and touch upon that midpoint. So this vector candle, I think, could come back down again. We see the buy orders lining up between 80K and 86K. That midpoint is a sweet spot right around 84K. So if we do drop down in this range, certainly that would be a great place to be buying and getting back into some Bitcoin for the next move higher. And the target on that we looked at. Let's look at total market cap, actually. Some good clues in here on total market cap. If we do consider this a bull flag, the measured move off the flagpole drawn over here takes us to around 5 trillion, which is a pretty big push from 3 trillion. But by February, March, let's extend it out a bit. It certainly could happen if money really flows back in once the new administration's in, and who knows what can happen with that. But Bitcoin is coming into that final phase where it can really run. We have total 2 trying to hold here, creating a descending broadening wedge. This could come down a bit. We'll have to see. Total market 3 also trying to hold here to push over. Once it does break over, this is total market cap excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum, break to new highs, will likely retest that 1.15 trillion and then go again. Was also watching DeFi, the total DeFi, and thought we had a nice DeFi rally in play before this recent red candle that's taken us down. So again, it's looking like a downward trending bull flag parallel channel, but could take us quite a bit higher on the breakout. As far as other coins to watch, not a whole lot going on. I think Solana already has had most of its sell-off and is looking pretty good here. I'm not ready to buy this yet. Solana sold off early because of the unlocks that are due to happen in February, March, and a lot of the early holders that were in a lockout period, even though it's sold off, they probably bought in the low tens, or $1, $5, $10, who knows, and so they'll be selling, taking some profits. So this was whale sell pressure to get ahead of that. However, I think this has hit the lower range of its parallel channel, and I would be looking to buy here. I have buy limit orders in on Solana at 180 and 170 in case we get a capitulation, overreaction down this range. Have done very well with those kinds of movements down along this zone all the way through here, and nearly doubling my Solana holdings doing that. So aside from that, I wouldn't be buying much of anything. There's not a lot going on in these markets. However, there is one standout. There's a sea of red, everybody, and I was selling my alts yesterday. I'm glad I did. I'm 80% in cash and waiting for some buying opportunities. Preservation of capital is paramount, so on these downturns and cycle rotations, it's good to be in cash. You can buy the lows. However, here we've got XRP. I'm not a big XRP buyer, but look at all the money flow. These are part of one of our signals here, the ERI, which shows money flow all the way up through in a bull flag pattern, and we see all these buy orders lining up between $1.92 all the way up to $2.20. So I would suggest if you're an XRP person, maybe put some buy limit orders at $2, which would be right over that 50-day exponential moving average. Maybe you could put it in around $2.10. Not financial advice, just for educational purposes only, but the bull flag breakout on XRP, potentially, based on this flagpole, puts it at around $10 here, around even by February. So I don't know what the catalyst could be there. Might be a bit aggressive timing-wise, but that's a 4x from here. Or if you get it at $2, it's a 5x. So with that, you guys, I'm going to let you go. Hope you enjoyed. Please like the video if you want to see more of these. And thanks again, Max, for letting us join you. And if you would like some one-on-one help with me, I've got a limited number of slots available. You can hop over to moonstream.io/maxcoaching and watch this video. It's a brand new video, and you can schedule a call with me. I can help point you in the right direction. I also work one-on-one with people for portfolio optimization if you want to maximize the coming bull run and limit your losses, limit risk on the downside, and or coaching on how to become a better trader. There's some feedback here on the page if you'd like help with it. Other than that, I'm going to say thank you guys very much, and we will talk to you soon. Take care, everyone. Bye.